where we got lightweights Renato Moicano coming in at plus 165, going up against American Top Team teammate Chris Duncan, who comes in at minus 190. Now, Moicano is struggling as of late, right? He got a lot of love and a lot of popularity from some of his profanity-laced post-fight interviews when he was able to get some big wins. But it's really not working out for him as of late. But you can give him a pass, especially in the Islam Makhachev fight, a fight that he took on, less than 24 hours notice after Arman Tsarukyan was forced out of that fight. Moicano stepped in, he got dominated, he got submitted in round 1. Then he took on Beneil Dariush about 6 months later, the fight that he was supposed to have the night that he went up against Makhachev. But outside of damaging Dariush in that first round, he had no success, and Dariush pretty much just ran through him for the rest of the fight. Moicano is a guy that I used to think had good enough Muay Thai to eventually get to his BJJ game, but that seems to really be fizzling out at this stage of his career. He needs to get fights into the grappling realm to have any success of his own. He's a good submission specialist, good front choke series as well, but I think that this, he really struggles when he can't get to his grappling or get to a safe position there. Some of the fights that he had during that 4-fight winning streak has a lot of asterisks beside them, right? The Dober fight, he willingly engaged in the grappling, a realm in which Moicano clearly had the edge, and he was able to reverse those positions and end up grinding that fight out. The Turner fight, Turner let Moicano off the hook numerous times after nearly finishing him in the first round, and that led to Moicano getting the finish in the second. And then the Benoit Saint-Denis fight. He did very good damage in that first round, especially to the eye of Benoit Saint-Denis. The doctor came in after the first round, gave Saint-Denis the go-ahead for the second round. Saint-Denis put it on Moicano, really took control of that fight. But unfortunately for Saint-Denis, the doctor did not let that fight continue after the second round, and Moicano was awarded the TKO win that night. I think he is a guy that doesn't take damage as well as he used to. I think his gas tank is not the greatest either. And it's definitely going to be challenged here as he goes up against the streaking Chris Duncan. Now, Duncan's on a 4-fight winning streak. He's gotten 3 submissions over Balaji Oki, Jordan Vucenic. He almost got a TKO over Terrence McKinney, but the referee just kept allowing McKinney to eat damage, so Duncan went for an anaconda choke and got the insta-tap from McKinney that night. And then he had a solid war against Mateusz Rąbecki and showcased perfect game planning that night. He knew Rąbecki was going to be on the gas, he was going to be aggressive, he was going to be looking to land big shots on Duncan, but Duncan countered perfectly, avoiding the big shots of Rąbecki and then landing big damage of his own. We know Rąbecki has crazy durability, whereas other guys probably would have wilted under the type of shots that Duncan was landing. Duncan has evolved his game very well. He went from being a headhunter to and striker to being a guy that might have grappled a little bit more than he should have. And now he's found the happy medium where he can go out there and submit guys if he needs to, but also land big damage on his feet. After seeing him get knocked out knocked out by Vyacheslav Borshev on the Contender Series, nearly getting finished by Charlie Campbell on the second attempt on the Contender Series. I had question marks about his durability, but he's been able to eat some big shots from big hitters in recent fights, and he still continues to chug forward and have major success of his own. Now, the interesting aspect of this fight, I kind of touched on it earlier, they're teammates. This is the second fight in 3 fights that Duncan is going up against another guy that trains at American Top Team, and that's bound to happen. Right, that is bound to happen because American Top Team is such a big team, and lightweight is probably the most, not stacked, but probably the most populated division in the UFC. So obviously there's going to be other lightweights on the roster there, and it was just a matter of time before he, with the winning streak that he's on, that he was going to fight guys that he ends up training with. How close of training partners they are, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure they've shared some rounds and stuff with each other, but I think... there's a good reason why this matchup is being made. You got the popularity of Moicano, and you got the surge that Duncan is currently on. Now, I was waiting for the under to be released for this matchup, and it has released. It's 2.5, and it's roughly sitting around minus 125. I am expecting violence in this matchup. I'm expecting Moicano to come forward, look for takedowns, try to get to his grappling, and try to get a submission. But I think we're going to see good enough defense and counter-striking from Duncan that he lands big shots on Moicano, wears Moicano down, and eventually gets a TKO or even a submission of his own in the second round. So I was going to be a little bit hesitant if the total was at 1.5, but with that 2.5, I feel pretty good about the under 2.5 hitting in this matchup, and I think it's going to be Duncan who ends up breaking Moicano and eventually getting him out of there. So I look for Duncan to counter Moicano effectively, look for him to showcase good enough grappling defense, maybe reverse a position and put Moicano in compromising positions, but I think at a certain point, within 10, maybe 12 and a half minutes, we will see one of these guys get a finish, and I'm expecting it to be the Scot, Chris Duncan, and I expect it to come inside the distance.